The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. On that day, as evening drew on, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us cross to the other side." Leaving the crowd, they took Jesus with them in a boat just as he was, and the other boats were with him. Then a violent squall came up, and waves were breaking over the boat so that it was already filling up. Jesus was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. They woke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And he woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Quiet, be still." The wind ceased, and there was great calm. And then he asked them, "Why are you terrified? Do you not yet have faith?" They were filled with great awe and said to one another, "Who then is this whom the wind and the sea obey?" The Gospel of the Lord. Do you not yet have faith? This week, I think on the top of the charts is a number one song by, I guess a lot of people are listening to a song by Post Malone, and I believe the title of the song is I Had Some Help. And I think he's got some sort of piece in that song featuring, it says, the Morgan Whalen, who I believe is a British singer who must have a piece in the song. Anyway, looking at the song, though, I thought it's a little deceiving in the title, I Had Some Help. The song goes on to basically say, "Don't hold me responsible for our breakup." It's a breakup song, or about a breakup, as a lot of songs are. Okay, fair enough. Our relationships are some of the most important and some of the most complicated things in our lives, right? And so when things don't go well, we do want to figure out what went wrong. Although I, in my life anyway, have always, often enough, discovered that there was some part of mine in anything like that that's gone badly. There was some part for each of us involved. And you got to own that if you're going to learn from those kind of experiences, right? What was it that I did that contributed to this thing not going well? And how can I walk away from that and not let that happen in my life again? Because again, relationships are some of the most important and the most complicated things in our lives. So why not let them teach us something? And so friends, I think today on this Sunday, as we look at Jesus, who's considering his followers as they journey together, and they're at an important point early on in their journey together in Mark's gospel here, chapter 4. But in the midst of this, it's the question for him is, do you have faith? Because there's this disturbance around them, obviously a storm, they're scared. And he's like, hey, you got to know me, and to know me is to know that I can be a part of accompanying you through whatever storm or trauma we're in. But they're not yet there yet. Do you yet have faith is the question. Faith is a tricky thing because it's a gift, right? It's one of the three theological virtues: faith, hope, love. They're virtues we can't acquire ourselves. They're virtues that are given to us by the divine. And we have to accept them as gifts and let them work in our life, because gifts aren't gifts until they're accepted. It requires a receiver to accept a gift in order for a gift to become a gift and for it to work in our life. And faith is exactly that. We accept the gift of faith so that it then works in our life. And having a faith in God, especially in difficult circumstances, is not always easy. Can we accept it? Can we be open to it? Our first reaction is often to rely on our own abilities, which is not a bad thing. I'm a big believer that grace and nature always come together. That's a big teaching within our tradition. Grace meets nature, and all of a sudden, grace can be for us what we need it to be, but not without our good effort. And often enough, to accept that grace of faith, we need to make sure we are putting forth our good effort. We thought about our reactions and our planning and our ability to respond to circumstances beyond our control. The interesting thing about the sea here, where they are, and those kinds of things, the sea is one of these things that's both awesome and terrifying simultaneously, right? I don't know about you, but when I go to the shore and I see this vast ocean with all of its mystery and knowing that its deepest depths, we have no idea what's going on to some extent, There's parts of the ocean that are still unexplored by humanity. And yet there's some connectivity to it, and there's something about the power of its waves, the power of its currents, the incredible life it gives forth. There's awesome things about it that allow us to realize we're finite. We're a small thing in front of this great power and majesty of the ocean. And in that, we get a good sense of ourselves and our limitations, but know that we're part of something more than just us. And there's something really comforting in that, powerfully comforting, that there's forces beyond ourselves. And if we can make that transition to the gift of faith that says, and in fact, the author and creator of all of this is a powerful, powerful God that gives you and me the ability to have faith in something beyond ourselves, and to know that our efforts, our good efforts, are going to be caught up in a relationship with Christ that enables you and me to be able to step forward into whatever storms are in our lives. So let us be daunted by what Jesus is telling his followers here, as we hear maybe the same thing said to us. Do you still not yet have faith? But know that he's asking that question because the follow-up could be, because I'm giving it to you all the time. Can you accept it, and can you let it work in your life? And if you can, then the great forces around us can be managed and maybe even calmed and maybe even brought in to the greater work of God's reign of love, God's kingdom in our midst, and you and I can be a part of that. How can we, in some ways, accept that gift of faith and let it be for us the way in which we lean into the challenges, the craziness of our times, the ugliness in the world, and know that we will be able to lean into it in such a way that we can find that calm, the beauty of life in the midst of it, and we can let that be proclaimed to overcome the craziness, the storms. The human spirit is incredibly tenacious, resilient, and beautiful. The gift of faith joined to our human spirit allows us to have a combination in life that allows us to take on any storm. All we need is just to accept that constant offer of the gift of faith. Amen.